First of all, thank you for this honor. I want to do a little background. Some of you may know that Diane Ravage was scheduled to be your keynote speaker tonight. And unfortunately, Diane, who is the kind of person that just will not say no, had a little spill. She fell down, and she thought she had torn her ACL, and it actually turned out to be something more serious, so she couldn't be here tonight. And I got a desperate email saying, if you come, John Kuhn might come. You think you too? So it took two of us to fill Diane's large shoes. But I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. The most important thing we can do as defenders of public education is to speak the truth.
Yeah.
It's to speak the truth. That means we must inform ourselves with real data, not internet memes. I am so tired of people coming on my Twitter feed calling me a racist, telling me I'm spewing hatred because there's a meme of me looking very crazy with something that I never said running across my chest. And I think it's really important because this signifies where we are in the discussion, because this isn't even a debate, but in the discussion and or conversation about publicly funded public education. Not publicly funded private education and not private education. But that people will lie to make a point. The best thing about it is they get crazier and crazier and crazier. So my favorite was the one that we spent a lot of time working on, which was our school has a 100% graduation rate. They can't even say that anymore because it's not true. It simply isn't true, but they have said it so many times that it's stuck in people's minds. This is marketing. This is the marketing. Now they can say, we forced them to change their lives. So now it's 100% of our kids go to schools or get accepted into full-time universities, four-year universities. But when you follow them a little further, how many actually stay? Those data are coming out now, and they're not good. I believe in school choice. Have you heard that over and over and over again? I believe in choice. Parents should have a choice. But what we see are false choices. Most parents want an excellent school in their neighborhoods. How many of you chose your homes by the school district? Tell the truth. Raise your hands. You know you did. Most of you. I like the ones that did. These are the kinds of decisions people make because they're based on what they believe is real evidence. But anybody knows, and I am living proof. How many of you watch those lose 30 pounds overnight? Take this pill. Marketing. Marketing. And they always show you somebody who's never had a weight problem in their entire lives. Totally, right? I have fallen for all of that, right? But at some point, you stop sitting in your 1995. At some point, you have to get past that. And you can hear when people struggle to continue to have, as you have your conversation and you're telling them the truth. But this isn't true. But school choice. I want school choice. I want school choice too. And I want what John wants, which is that we do have to keep the promise, but it is almost impossible if we do not have control of our schools. In Chicago, we have suffered for almost 20 years of mayoral control. And I'm not sure we ever had an elected school board. But the fact that the mayor controls everything went largely unnoticed because the previous mayor kept people happy with decent contracts and reasonable working conditions. They weren't the best. But this mayor came in. You know, I don't say his name. Because this isn't about him and me. Okay? We're not having that. How many people saw Chicagoland? Oh, good. Nobody. That is amazing. I didn't watch it either. This mayor came in before he ever got elected, picking on teachers.
Yes.
Big headline on the Sun-Times. Teachers got raises, kids got the shaft. How vicious is that?
Not really.
And if you take that just a little step further, it's unseemly. It is unseemly. That is how ugly the fight was. I knew we were going to have a problem when his campaign co-chair was the head of the most corrupt charter schools. Uno. You heard of Uno schools? Anybody heard about that? That was his, that was his advisor. His comptroller just got arrested in Pakistan with $176,000. This is a guy that doesn't surround himself with people that are of the best quality. Let's put it that way. And somehow he just seems to walk away from it. Oh yeah, like it wasn't him. But when you come to do dirt, you cannot hide it. We always, always, always benefit from the sunshine, the disinfectant of sunshine. We benefit from that. We benefit from the transparency. That is the beauty of having democratically elected school boards, because those are the people you see in the grocery store. Let somebody do something really crazy, and that school board member is going to have to pay for it in a small town, right? Because they're going to have to deal with the people whose lives they affect. I've had discussions with the school board members, with a couple. I'm like, why would you make this decision? You saw how bad it was. You saw people begging you, crying, screaming for their schools. And they don't understand why people don't come and aren't polite. They don't understand that. So I remember this group of people who, when they first started, oh, teachers union, I don't think I really want to talk to you guys. They were moms. And they really thought that if they went to the school board and had a reasonable discussion with the president, that everything would be taken care of because they were reasonable. Welcome to my world. When I saw the look on this woman's face and she said, they don't listen. They have no respect because they are not accountable. And how do we hear this word, accountability? Our schools aren't accountable. Our teachers have to be accountable. How do we make them accountable? People really believe that teachers are responsible for test scores. They believe that in their hearts. No matter how many times you tell them the only correlation between test scores is socioeconomic status, you can show that over and over and over again. And these people claim to be data-driven. I'm not interested in being data-driven. I don't want data to drive anything. I want it to inform. But when data is driving, you're on a crazy train. Was it Mark Twain who said there's lies, damn lies, and statistics? What was it? It was Mark Twain, I believe. So, we have to defend public education because it will slip through our fingers if we don't. And it's unfortunate that we have to defend something that should be an inalienable right. a right to a quality education. Not a chance, not if they behave right, not if they're a good fit. And they shouldn't have to have the right to shop for a school. You can shop for a pair of shoes. And if they don't fit, you can take those shoes back. Get a refund, especially at Nordstrom's. I didn't know about a lot of them. Nordstrom's will take those shoes back 10 years back. If you have the receipt. But children and parents should not have to shop for education. That should be an insult to every single parent on the planet. Unless you are falling for that 1999 at 2 o'clock in the morning ad, which says, rocket ship, I'm going to take your children to the stratosphere with no music, no art, no history, no science, and close reading. Yeah. We want you to read closely so you don't pay attention to any of the context of the real world. My synagogue is in transition. Our rabbi retired last year, so we have had a series of rabbis coming to kind of like audition. I don't know, do you do that in Christian churches? Do you do auditions? Do you just pick somebody? Oh, we have auditions. So my favorite one came from Louisiana. I knew he wasn't coming because it was going to be too cold in Chicago. But he had an entire discussion about how families are in conflict. And he talked about Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel and why did Cain have to be sent away? And we go on this whole conversation. And he said, by the way, when Cain got exiled, where did he go? Because clearly there were other people. But according to the beginning, there's, just Adam and Eve. So he said, and this is where the rabbis say, look over here. This is exactly the bait and switch. This is the corporate model. I'm going to sell you something, isn't good for you, but I'm going to sell it to you anyway. The fact that people are even talking about making money off of our children. They are having like quiet, community-based discussions around this. When I say community, I'm talking about the community of the corporations, not our communities. The only way to fight this is for all of us to do our part. In Chicago, we were able to pull off the biggest sneak attack ever. Notice I said we. I like how they say Karen Lewis did this, Karen Lewis did that. Oh, heavens no, that's not how it happens. We had to have conversations with our members, building by building. And our members had to have conversations with our parents. And our parents had to have conversations with their communities, because nowhere on the history of the planet are teacher strikes popular, ever. They are not. People told us, don't do this. If you go on strike, you will kill the labor movement. Oh yeah. No, we went on strike and revived the labor movement. We had the support of our communities. Sisters and brothers, if you think you can do education by yourself, you are wrong. You have to stop thinking about just what happens in the classroom, because that's not where life is, and that's not where our children are going to be going, and we must prepare them for the next steps. College and career ready, should be just one part of a real goal. I want my children to be life ready. I want them to not fall for the okie-doke and that 1999. Okay, I'm not going to go there. But the only way we can do this is together. We cannot say, well, those kids in Chicago, we cannot do that anymore. Because it's not just those kids in Chicago anymore. It's kids in the suburbs, it's kids in the rural districts, it's kids all over the country who are suffering from the biggest scam. And even Mr. Bill Gates said, we won't even know if any of this works. It's okay to experiment on other people's children, while your children have a school that's based in the joy of teaching and learning. Your children get that. So should everybody's children. We have to insist on full funding of the schools. This would have never happened if we didn't have the crash that starves our schools of their resources at the very same time they're asking teachers to do impossible things with less. John Kuhn's former governor said, I really like this guy. John Kuhn's former governor said that our children are suffering from the bigotry, the soft bigotry of low expectations. But we are now suffering under the hard tyranny of impossible expectations. 100%? 100%? On what planet do you ever get 100% of anything? But that's what we allowed to have as a law, and it was Democrats and Republicans. This is a bipartisan snafu.
Right.
And it means we need to change the political landscape too. We need to get rid of this dynamic of, well, it's those over there and those over there. Baby, all y'all.
Yeah.
Isn't that plural? All y'all is plural, right? Working. So I'm just going to end by saying thank you so much for coming out, because this is something you didn't have to do on May Day, on a Thursday. And can you believe it's May and cold? I know, right? Oh no, but there's no climate change. No. We got people that don't believe in science, don't believe in history. We're going backwards, sisters and brothers, and this is where I am concerned, that we are headed back to the days of the robber barons. We are headed back to the Gilded Age. We are headed back to a time when schools are more segregated now than they were before Brown versus Board of Education. That is a frightening concept 60 years hence. So I'm not interested in going backwards, but I'm interested in looking backwards so things don't catch up on you. So every last one of you, find the one space where you feel the most comfortable. Find those statistics that you can just roll off your tongue and have the conversations. Hold your elected officials accountable. Hold the people accountable who make the decisions, because you have to be the decision makers. It may mean that you have to run for office. It may mean that out of this, I know, I'm going to put you. But when you leave it to somebody else, don't be surprised what you get. Sisters and brothers, thank you very much.